Good morning, YouTube. We kind of went back into the deep freeze this week, and this morning I'm going to scoot back up into the woods and do some cutting, and then this afternoon I'll be down to the mill. Right now I'm just getting out and getting everything warmed up. Tractor hasn't run in a week or two. We'll get that fired up.
The estrogen temporal scanner. Even after getting the COVID vaccine, you should be monitoring.
Running. Go down and make sure my chainsaw is all tuned up and sharpened up, fueled up, oiled up. So, as you can see, this morning it was 9 degrees out, ice everywhere. The ground is frozen solid where it was mud just the other day. We'd gotten some snow, not a lot here, it kind of blew off. The wind just ripped through here the last couple of days. And the sun gets pretty high during the day. If the sun's out, it melts off the snow pretty quick. Let's see if I can talk this morning. But if you're planning on moving to northern Vermont, spring is a tough time of year. You never know what's going to be going on. It can be 65, 70 one day, and the next day it can be snowing. I remember the year I moved home from the military, 7th of April, it snowed 10 inches. And it's truly a mess this time of year when it happens, because it'll melt almost as quickly as it comes down and just remodifies everything. So that's something that you got to think about. I know one of the guys that commented, and thanks for the comments, I really appreciate it. They've been great. Almost Italian. You thought you would be thinking about moving up here. Just be aware, springtime is a tough time of year up here. You guys usually come up in the summertime when it's really nice, or in the wintertime when you're snowmobiling or ice fishing or something like that. But this is the time of year that is trying for most of us that live up here with mud season, and you're driving through muddy roads and the frost heaves are still right into it, so you know your drive time everywhere is increased exponentially. So keep that in mind. Especially, I have that 3/4 ton truck with the Cummins in it, and holy cow does that ride rough this time of year. And the engine's really heavy, so it really sinks into the mud when you're going down these back roads. So just something to keep in mind. And keeping in mind, if you like this channel, subscribe. It really helps me out. You know, I'm not a big channel. I only have about 35 videos, but I really try hard to get a video out every week. It's kind of a grind right now, but I enjoy it. And I think that my family enjoys watching them. And if you're not part of my family, or you don't even know me and you enjoy it, subscribe, and we'll keep on doing it. So onward to this day. We'll get things tuned up and get going. We'll get after it. All right, I'm gonna try a little bit different view today. I tried this the first time I did that first logging video that's done so well, and most of the footage was unusable. I'm going to try it again today with a little bit different mounting on the helmet, and we'll see how it turns out. If you're seeing this, it's probably because I used it. So I'm going to get after it. Tractor view of the helmet cam. I don't know how it's gonna look, but cleared out. For those of you that are just joining this adventure, this is my John Deere 3046. It's about a 45 horse tractor. I've got a Fransgard skidder winch on the back of it. There's a grapple up on the front. It's just a small root grapple, but it does a great job. We're heading up in the woods this morning. We're going to cut some cedar. The ground is still frozen. It actually froze up over the last couple of days. It is, I don't know, the 3rd of April today. And it was about 9 degrees this morning. As I said, the ground's frozen right up, so we're going to take advantage of it and pull some trees out while it's still frozen. Avoid getting mud on the logs, which is really hard on saw blades. And the tractor right now is going through a regen cycle. It does it every now and then. You just have to let it run and let it do its thing, which is no big deal for me. It is what it is. New tractors, that's what they do. Once we get out in the woods, I'll turn you back on. Just a quick note here. You can see this log comes down and then it forks off. I'm going to pull this out. And it's too small to put on a mill. I know that. But we're going to be putting a woven wire fence in, and we're going to use these for fence posts. I know you guys out in the Midwest, you use hedge or Osage orange. When I lived out there, I had my fair share of that. Working on a farm out there. This is our version of it. It's not quite as rugged in the ground, but it is pretty durable, and they last quite a long time, probably longer than I'm going to be alive. So that's what we're going to be using, and that's why I'm pulling out this really small stuff off the tops. So with that said, I'll continue on. All right, I'm going to hook on to that one and get it out of the way, and then I'll get after the second one. I'm gonna try and pull this out without getting snugged up against that there, but you never know until you start pulling on it which direction it'll go. We can always back up the tractor and get a little different angle on it. You see this chain on the end, it doesn't have one of those little sections that come off that help you drive it up underneath the tree. When I first got those new chains, I wasn't sold on it, but man, they're nice to have. Make it a lot easier. Of course, the logger guys, they cedar in the mouth. They have cables now, and the cables will ride right up underneath the trees where you're not wrestling chains. But I never had a chain drive a wire into my hand either. And that's the disadvantage of those damn cables. Once they start getting frayed, holy crap, they hurt. Nothing worse than getting a cable driven into your hand. Well, there is worse things, but anyways, chains won't do that to you. Of course, a lot of the guys up here use grapples now. And really that's the way to go. So those of you that aren't familiar with the Fransgard, runs off the PTO. This lever right here engages a little dog, so when you're pulling it won't spool out. And it'll hold the log up off the ground when you're skidding it out. I usually leave it undogged unless I'm moving in the tractor. So let's go engage the PTO. And I know it's not, there's John Deere engineers that are having a heart attack right now. I bypassed, this is what engages the clutch on this, but I bypassed the oh, I think I came unhooked. Oop. I bypassed the safety switch because you just can't be yep, you just can't be in the seat all the time when you're doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't work. And I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but there's plenty of videos out there on how to bypass that safety switch underneath your seat. And we're not going to clear that tree. All right, Question is, do I want to cut it down? And I think I do. Yeah, I'll just cut that tree down and get it out of the way. I got to pull the tractor forward a little bit. And that size tree right there, it's pretty small, but we're going to use those on our porch as rounds. And maybe by the end of the summer we get to that point, you'll see what I mean. Who knows, maybe it'll be next year before we get to that point. You just never know. So I'm gonna leave everything hooked up here, and because it's on free spool down here, I can drive away and it's not gonna pull on that at all. So let me pull up. Just gonna lift it slightly just to get it up off the ground. And I just want to pull up far enough so I'm not worried about putting a tree on my tractor. That can make for a really bad day really quick. You can see where that skidder winch dug right into the ground there. If it was frozen, it would have just rode on top of it. The top of this is frozen, but the rest of it is, you know, it's starting to thaw out, even though it's been real cold for the last couple days. Let's see the best way to get up in here. The ground underneath is still starting to thaw out. There's probably frost, maybe 3 or 4 inches underneath. Starting to rot inside. So let's see what we got. There we go. That's what I was talking about. On that old chain, I don't have that, and that makes it easy to drive the chain up underneath the log. Gives you something to grab on the other side. Toss that up in there. There's that. And we're just gonna drive it up underneath there. See, you never get a chain up under there. As a matter of fact, I don't think I can pull the chain under there. It's so tight to the ground. There we go. Right there. And I don't know if you can see, but it came out on the other side. And I can just pull it through. And you saw me wrestling around on the other one that didn't have that. Let's see if that works. There's really an art to hooking up chains. You know, whether you want to roll a log one way or another, or just the angle you're pulling at on which way the hook goes. Sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I don't. drop it right there. And shut that off, and the regen is done, so I can tune it down. So those of you who aren't familiar with this stuff, these are called slides, and you have the hook at the end. A lot of guys never use the hook, they always use the slides. So I'm gonna unhook that, and I am gonna use the hook because I'm gonna use it right down here at the end. And this will be my last tree out. Let's see how it's... Hook it right on there. And then we'll take this first slide and we'll put it on this one. Okay. So I know I've said this in other videos, but when you're pulling on a chain, you keep your mouth shut. The best way to lose a tooth or chip a tooth is to be yanking on a chain and have that come back and snap right in your mouth. It's always better to get a bloody lip or a fat lip than a broken tooth. There we go with that one. Now we'll pick up this chain. We're going to pull the small one from the small end. Double wrap on it. Grab that next slide down. There we go. So you can hear that winch running. It's just in an idle. Doesn't take much to pull. You don't have to have it wound right up to get them out once they're out of the woods and they're limbed. Now we're getting down to here. I'm going to jog that in. So you'll hear it clicking now when I'm pulling. And those are locked right up. Now normally I'd just get in the tractor, I'd lift this up and pull it on out. I don't want a bunch of limbs down in the yard. I've got enough as it is. So I'm just gonna So instead of getting in the tractor, I'm going to lift that up with the 3-point hitch and show you what it looks like. So it's locked in on the skid winch, and now I'm going to lift it up. And we're all lifted up, and you can see the logs are up off the ground for the most part. and turn off that PTO. And this is good because when we start throwing these trees on the mill, we don't want a lot of mud in the bark, and every little bit we can get up off the ground, the better it's going to be. Kind of made a mess of the snowmobile trail, but I don't think anyone's going to care till maybe next December. By then we'll have it cleaned up. All right, let's get these down into the yard. Right now the cable's tight and you never get the chains off when it's like that, so I'm gonna undog it, and to do that it stays dogged up until you take pressure off that. So I'm going to take the pressure off it. Boom, there it is, and everything is loosened up. And once the chains are off, I like to pull the cable up, out like that. Make sure my tether's managed there. And we're ready to go back in and get another load. We'll push that up with the grapple so it's kind of out of the way. Turn off the PTO, lift up the 3-point hitch, lift up my grapple. Tractor has auto throttle on it, which is really nice. You push on the hydrostatic drive and it'll automatically throttle up depending how hard you're pushing on the pedal, kind of like a gas pedal. That's one of those unexpected features that I didn't know I was getting when I bought this tractor. And it's really nice. I've come to enjoy it. Let's see if that's going to stay up there. Yeah. Get this butt out of the way just a little bit. I said butt. So that's one load of logs down out of the woods, and I'm running out of power on my GoPro, so when I go in at lunchtime I'll put a new battery in, and we'll probably get after the mill this afternoon. So if you don't join me for the mill, like, subscribe, and have a great day. I'm gonna get back after it.